Hi, I'm Brandon. I love Hallmark Christmas movies.
I'm Brian. I like Hallmark Christmas movies.
I'm Dan, and I despise Hallmark Christmas movies, and this is the
Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast. Brandon and friends host his podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Man, I really thought you would sound better today, Dan. A day
Yeah,
removed,
you would
think the next day you would sound better.
I'd get that voice back, but not yet.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
I'm going to do my best here, Brandon.
We'll see what tomorrow holds.
Yeah, we'll see what tomorrow holds. That's true. Fingers crossed.
If there is a miraculous improvement, it's Christmas miracle.
It
would be. It's magic at that point. That's exactly.
Because I almost sound worse than yesterday.
You do. Yeah. And I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah, but medically that's not good.
Glad he said
Yeah. It's gone. Tea's gone.
Tea is gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
Oh,
but what is the tea? Do you have a tea update for us?
I don't have any tea update for you.
You finished the tea.
Speaking of tea, it's time for Tea's Tea. It's where Aaron gives us the tea on Taylor Swift in this weekly roundup. Any news this week on Taylor Swift that you would like to inform us on?
I'm not up to date on all the Taylor news. I was a bit busy this weekend, flying back and forth from New York.
It is Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's been multiple days.
I've just been catching up on other things. But the one thing I do know is that there was a fumble on one of the newscasters this weekend called Taylor Travis's wife.
Saw that. Tony Romo called and I'm thinking
does he know something that we don't know?
He's an ex-player, players talk, maybe he knows something.
I think they eloped.
Yeah. I think it's a little early, but Christmas miracles happen.
Tony's kind of a goofus. He probably just said it by accident, but who knows? I saw the end of that game. Now the Chiefs have lost 2 in a row where Taylor's there.
That's tough, and that was a really tough loss.
Should they break up?
No.
Trial separation.
Wow.
I mean, should they just take a pause so the Chiefs can get back on track?
On the field.
The only thing I'm worried about is if it becomes like when Tony Romo was dating Jessica Simpson.
Yeah.
She got a lot of flack for how he performed. So.
Correct.
But they did not lose that game because of him. Like what an amazing play that got called back with the throw to him and then the little
the pitch back. Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
This is how you want it.
And because Taylor was there, they called it offsides, which offensive offsides is never called.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Thanks, Taylor.
He was, but who are we?
Who are we?
Who am I?
Who am I? Yeah.
The rest were trying to show off for Taylor.
I think we should see what happens if she's not at a game.
Yeah.
And if it's better, then maybe
go that
I don't know. I'm just saying.
She's off for the rest of the she's not doing any shows for the rest of the year.
I believe her next concert is the weekend after the Super Bowl.
Wow. So she's got plenty of time.
Kristen Jambardino, when I say never, it's clearly hyperbole. 11 times in 14 weeks times 16 games is less than 1 in a gajillion. Come on. Of course it's called occasionally. Yeah, vroom. Come on.
She came in fast with that stat.
Fast and
like
furiously.
in all caps. God, man.
11.
Boy. How about that? How about that? Speaking of the stats you have on the top of your noggin, Brian, is about Philo and everything that they can get from Philo. How many channels?
Dude, 655?
Did you just say, no, it's not that. I mean, it is amazing.
We're in the tens.
75 plus. 75 plus channels.
That's so
plus the DTH
this time of
channel.
Year, I'm stuck on a handful.
You got to be.
Locked and loaded.
Yeah. What I also love, and this is just another, I don't even think we've talked about this feature before, but you can save channels that you like and they show up at the top of your guide. Ooh, so instead of having to scroll for Hallmark, you save Hallmark and then it's at the top. You save Deck the Hallmark, it's at the top.
Pins
that way,
there for you.
Your favorites are right on.
I was just watching this movie and enjoying the 1-button ad skip. I saved it.
It was clutch.
Man,
it was
really
clutch. Let's talk about this movie, Magic and Mistletoe.
Or in. The town is called Mistletoe.
Magic or Mistletoe.
I think it's and. It's Magic.
It's Magic in Mistletoe.
And a town called Mistletoe.
Sure.
And it's time for Magic and Mistletoe. Yep. Originally aired on December 8th, 2023, and it went a little something like this. The movie kicks off with one of those Entertainment Tonight type shows, doing a segment on Harrington Davis, an author who writes Christmas books, the Magic and Mistletoe series. Right before his 6th novel is about to release, he tweets out that he just basically is over Christmas. It's all about the money. He's not having it. The fans are peed right the O off. This puts April, the publisher's PR person, in a tough spot. This is the definition of a PR nightmare. Somebody who has made a career in loving Christmas suddenly coming out and saying he hates Christmas. Some might say that that's happened to me this year. I say that's a lie. That's fake news. Don't believe it. April's good at her job, though. She says, I'm going to convince Harrington to go to the Magic and Mistletoe convention. The fans will love it. She shows up, and he is not pleased. But after the word lawsuit is thrown out, he basically, his hands are tied at that point. He is going to go to this convention and all that stuff. Mistletoe's the town he grew up in, and he feels like these books are just being used for money now. Not for the love of Christmas. He does show up to Mistletoe, much to April's surprise, and he actually crushes the first event, a Q&A. He seems like he's actually enjoying himself, and he apologizes to April for being a jerk face. They spend some time together eating cinnamon s'mores. They bond over losing parents, and he even shows her his original journals. She's like, I'm glad you came. And I just want you to know that even though I threatened to sue you, never actually would have sued you. And he goes nuts. You lied to me. You tricked me. You're a swindler. She's like, whoa, dude, chill. I'm sacrificing Christmas with my mom to be here. I'll shoot it straight from now on. And I guess they're cool. The next day, he's mobbed out in public. The fans are all excited that he is there, and I think he secretly loves this. He judges a gingerbread house competition. He does a Q&A with the press. He is asked about the tweet by the press in a very direct way, and he basically says, there's no excuses. I done goofed. I'm not too big to say I done goofed. He's having a good time. And on his off day, he takes April to a Christmas tree farm where he used to like to write early on in his career. She leaves to go to the Christmas costume party, an event that he wasn't planning on going to because of the crowds. But he puts on a costume with a hat and a beard and goes anyway, and is stunned when April walks in as the Christmas fairy. He's like, hubba, hubba. They slow dance, and she finally opens up about being a real fan. She loves reading the books and has been a fan for a long time. And he's like, oh, you shouldn't have. When they get back to the place, though, it is fully decorated for Christmas. She did it while he was gone, and he freaks out on her again and says, I don't do trees. I do a lot of things, but I don't do trees. He feels bad, though, and he flies out her mom so that they can spend Christmas together. It's time for the annual Mistletoe Christmas Banquet. It's different than a dance. It's a banquet. April provides a speech for him to give, but he goes off notes and basically just thanks April for being amazing and helping him remember the magic of Christmas. Afterwards, he finally apologizes for the I don't do trees thing. They go to the Christmas lantern lighting, where Harrington does the honors of lighting the first lantern and throwing it into space and causing global warming to speed up just a little bit. He then rushes her away from the pro-climate change rally and takes her to a special spot where they can watch it from afar. They look like fairies. They both confess to liking each other, and they kiss as the fairies go into space. And that, my friends, was Magic and Mistletoe.
And Mistletoe. We did it.
We did do it. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll break this movie down with 4 segments here on Deck the Hallmark. Welcome back. We're talking about Magic and Mistletoe, the first Hallmark Channel movie from last weekend. Let's break it down. We're going to start with a hot take. We're going to share exactly how we felt about this movie. We're not going to hold back, and I will start with you, Brian. Brian, what'd you think about this joint?
Yep, this joint. I thought this was just okay, actually. I had pretty high expectations for the humor in this coming through, and it just wasn't that funny. I actually like the setup of an author who experienced success young, had a really lengthy series. I'm sure he signed a contract that was for too many books at that age. Like when you're 18, you're like, sure, I'll take. Probably got $250,000 cash payout to commit to a long-term deal, and he's just like, yeah, absolutely. And then a lot of stuff happens throughout your life. Your parents die. You start to hate trees. You got to keep writing these books, and you're just so sick of it. So I believe that
he hates trees. He doesn't do trees.
He don't do trees.
I don't know how else we need to say this.
I don't do trees.
You're a liar, and I don't do trees.
That's right, liar. So I believe that whole they had a really solid foundation with him being just disgruntled, fed up, and then the threat of lawsuit. Sure, he had a contract. Of course, he's gonna have to. You don't want to get sued, especially at Christmas time when you don't do trees. So, but from there on, it was just like they just went to the town, and it's like every event is based on his book series. Is that all they do? Like everything was just about the book, and I'm like, all right, can we do some other Christmas stuff? Anything, and just not a lot of laughs for me, and ended up so just being okay for me, and a lot of questions about just the logistics of Christmas Day final in series book release. So we'll get to that a little bit.
That's going to be
that was
take up
just
a lot
really
of the
taking
whole next
took me
segment
out
after
of
the
it.
break. I can promise.
Took me out of it a little bit.
So yesterday's episode was sponsored in part by BetterHelp, and we should have moved it to today's episode.
Right.
Because boy, does he need it. This is I don't think I've ever seen a movie with this many blow-ups from one single character.
Yeah.
Just like the swings are so aggressive that it makes it hard to
volatile.
It makes it hard to just sit and enjoy it because you're just I always when's the next one going to happen? And I don't do trees. I didn't see it coming. Sure. Yeah, I get she lied about the lot, the saying I'm going to see you, but also they could have it's not her final say on whether or not they sue.
That was not a
so
lie.
it's not a lie.
How does she know they won't?
Right.
It was just all of the blow-ups were ridiculous, and boy does this man Harrington BetterHelp.com, let's get you hooked up, but because it was a tough character to cheer for. I thought that she was great, and I like a town that does a bunch of Christmas events. I think all that's fine and dandy, but it's just tough to cheer for these two at the end kissing. Get out of here. He even in the declaration of quotes his own book by the page number.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
He's a psychopath.
Yeah, that's
this is a scary man.
Yeah.
Was not rooting for them, and I just it's Paul Campbell. I want him to be in the funnies. I want it to be very funny, and there are certainly times where Paul's humor and the way in line delivery takes over. That's always going to happen because he's a funny dude. But overall, just one of the more unlikable characters I've seen in a Hallmark movie. And so it makes it tough to cheer for them at the end to end up together. So that's a tough one. It was fine, but tough to enjoy. Dan?
Yeah, this movie's unfortunately bad. Paul Campbell is good at a lot of things. He's written some of our favorite Hallmark Christmas movies. He's really funny. He has a dry wit, a great comedic timing, good sarcasm, and none of that's really present here. And the guy that he plays, I'm fine with creating a crabby, unlikable dude. That's fine. I think they could have gone harder or not as hard. I think where they put him was so uncomfortable because he seems awful. Then he shows up and he immediately can connect with the townspeople. And it's where is this guy supposed to be? Because the way he's acting toward Lindy Greenwood is unacceptable. But if he's like that to everyone, then you can see some healing. And instead it's he's caught in between. There are a couple moments that I thought were so surreal and actually worked, but by and large, this movie's just a tough watch for all the reasons they mentioned, but it's just not the best use of these characters and just a weird plot that is kind of stuck in between something nicer or something better. And that's unfortunate.
This movie is better without the second half blow up. The blow up earlier on, all the characters that we've loved in Hallmark movies that have been crabby, like there is this crabbiness early on, and then it breaks out, and then there's some sort of misunderstanding, like in the Noel movie, for instance. Like at the end, like it comes out that he was the guy who was actually upset with the kid and stuff. Like it's like that was my kid. That whole thing happens, but like at that point we are like he's like thawed, and it's just like we've already done the blow up about the lie thing, and now we're like, okay, we're going along. And then he says, I don't do trees.
But I also feel like he hops back and forth.
Yeah.
Like when he gets back to the town, he meets that little girl and he's like immediately completely thawed out and just like, yeah, I'm great. And then he hops back over. And so there's not a consistent character growth, which is unfortunate.
It's time for All the Feels, where we talk about what this movie gave us as Christmas feels, right?
Yeah. I'm a sucker for like a kitchen device or a baking accessory. And early on, the mom is on a call with her daughter, and she's got on an apron that says, "We whisk you a Merry Christmas." And I would love an apron like that, because I have a nice denim apron, some other festive things, but none that say "We whisk you a Merry Christmas." And that worked really, really good for me.
I mean, in a similar vein, something that is just said out loud, and I go, and I feel like that belongs to us. He says to his sister and brother-in-law, or whatever those two people are, that they're the three Christmateers.
Yes.
And I don't know, like, what we have to do to make that, like, our reality. Like,
why can't we be Christmas tears? I guess Christmateers.
Christmateers.
The Christmateers.
Christmateers.
The three Christmateers.
We need, like, shirts, maybe a cape, a sword.
Maybe even hats.
But the sword is a candy cane, like, type of sword.
Boots.
I think there's a lot that we could do there, and I just wish that I wish we came up with it first. Dano?
Doing this in the feels because I'm being 100% sincere. There is a moment in this movie where Paul Harrison apologizes for his actions, and it is so earnest and real that I legitimately appreciated it on a level I was not supposed to appreciate it on. He literally was like, I forgot what Christmas was about, and the next time I get ornery, I'll just put my phone away. And I honestly didn't know how to take, like, I was blown away that this was in the movie, and it felt very authentic and real, and I appreciated it.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back, and we'll break this video down with two more segments here on Deck the Hallmark. Welcome back to the Three Christmateers. Talk about Hallmark movies. It's a longer name, but I don't know. I'm just trying it out.
Three Christmateers.
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to pivot? We're going to just change the name of our podcast 6 years in?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
The Three Christmateers podcast.
We might have to. Never know.
That's actually not bad. We should workshop that.
Workshop that a little bit. I don't want to change our name.
Three Christmateers. There's a lot you could do
good.
from a logo standpoint too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Use that three as part of a tree, kind of.
Whoa.
Jag it out to the side a little bit.
You say
Jack it out to the side.
Jag.
Oh, jag.
Got it.
I was thinking like car
It's time
jack.
I didn't know. I don't know, man. It's time for the Wait What talking about one of this movie. Let's go. Wait, what? Bri.
Yeah.
Jag it off to the side.
I'm gonna jag it right out there. Her mom's again
ate that pie right on her.
ate it on her. So when the mom is on the phone, back to the mom being on the phone with her daughter, she says, "You want brownies? You only want brownies when you're stressed." And I'm just like,
how dare you?
How about like hungry, awake?
Yeah.
Hungry,
first of all,
like,
how dare you?
Yeah. First, yeah. How dare you?
My girl can't enjoy a brownie when she wants to eat a brownie.
Brownies are awesome.
Get out of here.
Who only eats it when they're
Stupid.
stressed? I'd be stressed 100% of the time if that's when I could eat brownies. Releasing on Christmas Day. Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, this is a what the Hallmark for me, because I just have so many questions about logistics of, like, everybody has to be on board with this. And that's all I'm going to say about it right now. It's frustrating. It seems like there was a lot of unauthorized merchandise floating around this town related to this book series that didn't have any copyright symbols, no trade, nothing. Just mugs with the name on it, shirts. It was dangerous to have the publisher there and that stuff sitting around. The journal the mom gave him, the 16th century journal actually looks like he should not be scribbling in that thing.
He said it was the journal. He wrote all of his stuff in. And I was like, why is that from Lord of the Rings?
Yes, that thing could be valuable.
It was at least 300 years old.
So
I mean, Thomas Paine wrote Common Sense in that. Like, I like
those pages were made by hand.
He and his drawings,
And they looked like
get out of
and
here.
and like Aaron pointed out, they looked moldy on the outside. Like, it looked gross.
It's seen some moisture, and holy cow, that was really funny. And then this was a big one for me. It's just that his book is being released in a week. By the time he gets there, nobody is asking him about the next book.
Nobody.
They love this series so much. It has built up their whole town. Nobody says to him, "Hey, can we get a little? Hey, what's going to happen?"
Nothing.
Like a little preview. No questions about the upcoming book.
Yeah.
What up with that?
Yeah.
Brand, you got anything?
Like for my wait, what? Or you just want me to add on top? Oh no, it's okay. I do. One, did Big Cinnamon sponsor this movie? The amount of cinnamon, there's cinnamon s'mores. They're just constantly adding cinnamon to stuff.
Right.
There's a lot of cinnamon mentioned in this movie per capita. They're at the dance and
Don't call it that.
Sorry, the dress up
Something else.
ball.
It's a costume ball.
Costume
Banquet?
ball.
Yeah, don't call it.
There's
dance.
not a dance in
Love
this movie.
everything good and decent.
There's a ball and there's a banquet.
Trying to stay above board here.
Don't do trees. There is a guy who is Army, and we know that because he's wearing a green jacket, and underneath it is camo. It's just a camo shirt. It's not his uniform. It's just a camo shirt, and he has like a long sleeve shirt over top of it. Which is just like what I anticipate all military to do now. Like just to give us so that we can thank them for their service.
Army recognizes.
Wear something at all times. I always wear camo. There's not like I'm Army. There's something that I can do. It's camo time, baby. Last but not least, they light the lantern. And he's like, let's get out of here. And then they suddenly drive up to a mountain.
These lanterns are moving slow, man.
And they are barely in the air.
Hold the lantern.
Either they are
You wouldn't get it.
either
Lanterns
they're
move so
moving at a
slow.
record. They're moving at a record speed, or the lanterns are moving at a record speed.
Everyone's breaking records there.
Yes, it is an impressive job all around. Dano?
For sure. We talked about it some, but the two things he gets mad about at Lindy Greenwood are both absurd. The first one is she's like, well, my firm wouldn't have sued you. You don't know that. You don't know that they wouldn't have sued you. There's no way to know that. For you to get mad about that is crazy town. And then the trees one, that's like an all-timer. Like anything, like he turns around and basically says, I don't do trees. It's a classic. You said this, they are 10 days from Christmas, and they say, we've planned our entire strategy around releasing your book for the holidays. No, you have not.
They
No,
are
you've
over.
not. You have not planned your entire strategy around that, or it would have been released before Thanksgiving. It would have been released like November 1st.
This is Magic and Mistletoe, the Epiphany.
The Epiphany,
It's,
that's
it's
right.
for
that-
Epiphany.
His buddy, who's a DJ now,
Yeah.
that guy's never spelled DJ. He goes out. He says he has to. He's because you spell it when you say it.
Yeah, I love that.
good. I'm
That's
glad.
funny.
He says he has to warm up the crowd, and his version of warming up the crowd is, I'm going to tell you the plot of Magic and Mistletoe. That's what I'm going to do.
pumped.
And then I'll do most of it. And I'll be like, but you already know that.
You already know that.
You've read it.
But if you haven't, here's the entire plot beat
Say
by
it
beat.
with me now.
Yeah. Leave no stone unturned here.
Some of you heard this before.
Yeah. He agrees to a one question Q&A. There's one question asked, and then they're like, all right, we're out of here. Oh, there's a little girl that has a question. And then there is no world to decide how big this is. There are 7 members of the press. That's how many. That's a really weird number. I don't know from day to day how big a deal this
Because it's
actually
a
is.
book press conference.
Yeah, exactly.
But he just went viral for a tweet. Yeah. So it's like you'd think more would be there.
Yeah.
But also 7 for a book press conference seems like a lot.
And the publishing company has a giant check made out to cash to give to the winner of this baking contest. I don't know if you know this. The giant one is not what you actually take to the bank. Like they give you a paper
It's just another lie.
check.
It's another lie from the publishing company.
You could have waited and just gotten a Sharpie and put their name. It looks worse to have a giant check. They're not taking that bad boy into the bank going, I need to deposit
Doing
this.
that funny bit, trying to get through the door.
Yeah,
with it, like,
no, it would be good stuff though.
Publishing company. They can't stop. They can't stop lying.
all I got.
They can't stop lying
can't.
between
It's in
the
their DNA.
the suing and the big check.
It's in their DJ.
Everything they do. What?
Nothing.
It's time for What's the Hallmark.
along.
It's where we wonder what could have been. Maybe having some clear questions to laugh. Brian, what are you still wondering about, buddy?
Yeah, a big thing is I don't understand how big this book series is. Like, I don't understand the phenomenon around it, but the big thing that I just drive me crazy was, and I felt like I'm going to get killed for it, but it sounds like we're all kind of on the same page, just the logistics around this book release. Like, they talk about all the planning and all the stuff and everything he owes them and all this stuff, and then they're planning it on a day when everybody is not working. This like Apple is not helping you the Christmas Eve get your ebook up there. Like Barnes and Noble is not opening Christmas Day for your book. Really, like you're gonna want the book under your tree. I know he doesn't do trees, but other people do trees.
Other people do trees.
So
that's right.
It just makes no sense at all, and there's just no promotion around it, and we don't find anything out about how big this book is to the outside in the world. Like
it's the same reason that like in Nine Lives of Christmas, the dog adoption on Christmas Day, like people are at home. They're not coming out to your events on Christmas Day.
Yeah, it could like it's just so weird.
Do it earlier. It would maybe be the worst time to release a book.
Absolutely, because it's basically for next Christmas.
Yeah,
because Christmas is over. Like it's done. You missed it.
Yeah.
So
I have a couple. One is the timeline of book releases. Mainly because this is going to be the sixth book in the
it's the last one, right?
Yeah, the sixth last one. But he hasn't been to Mistletoe in 5 years, and he is now tweeting out that he's like he hates Christmas, the commercialization, the money, and all this stuff. Have books been released since going to Mistletoe last and now? Like, were there any other books, or has it been a 5-year one since book number 5?
That kind of ties in to mine. My assumption was he was writing a book every few years, and then after they got popular, he saw what Mistletoe did and never went back, which is a great idea for a movie, by the way. So my guess is 5 years ago they had released 3 books.
They said it was 15 years since the first one.
My other one is like, does he stand by this 6th book? Because he writes this book already like being angry,
right?
And then like it bubbles over into the tweet. So like, is he proud of this work? Like, does it hold up? Is he able to like put the frustration aside, knowing full well that he's putting out a book that is only going to further the commercialization of Christmas? Like, how does he kind of deal with that?
Ghostwriter situation.
Maybe, yeah. Dano?
Mine is very similar. So clearly the town took a lot of the book's aspects and sold them and sold like the likeness of them. I just want to know at that point why Harrison wasn't more involved in stopping it if he didn't like it. Like you would think that if they're using the likeness of him or the book series, that they could come in and be like, hey, you can't do that. And so my curiosity is more like, you saw this happen. Why didn't you say something when it was happening? Like 5 years ago? Or what was the process like for you to go, how is it legal for them to do this?
Yeah.
That's what I got.
More than fair.
Yeah.
There's some arguments.
There are.
He doesn't do trees.
He doesn't do trees.
Any fisticuffs, though? That's what I want to know. It's time for a fighting chance with Vic Webster.
Fighting chance with Vic Webster. A fighting chance with Vic Webster. Was the fighting in the movie? Did someone get hurt? It's a fighting chance with Vic Webster. A fighting chance with Vic Webster. A fighting chance with Vic Webster. Vic Webster.
You know how much action this movie had? Woo-hoo! You guessed it.
A fighting chance with Vic Webster. Vic Webster.
For those listening at home, that is a shake no.
Yeah,
it is
stare and a shake
no.
is what it is. Yes, it is.
I hate to see that.
You hate
I
to
think
see
it's
it.
frustrated, but more than fair. I
We
think
only got 5 or 6
was
chances
promised-
really left at this point.
He was promised.
I think it's
a
more
fight.
than that. It's 4. It's 7. It's 8.
Eight more.
It's kind of like 5 or 6.
Until next time, we'll see how Dan's voice is. Pray for him.
do the
So get
best
in your
we
war
can.
room. Until then, may we be the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark is a Bramble Jam podcast. It's produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.